Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tacoma Cyclist. I am the Tacoma Cyclist, and with me is the Boogeyman.
Hey.
And today this video is not about me at all. The butt you're seeing in front of you right now, I wasn't in this race. This is all about the Boogeyman. And what you are seeing in front of you is the butt of a Legion rider, Tyler Williams to be specific. So Boogeyman, why don't you tell us what this race is?
This is the California State Championship crit for the P12 race.
Absolutely. We are not in California. We're in Tacoma, Washington, and it's Tacoma Cyclist. But we flew down to take part of this race. Now, tell me something here, Boogeyman. You're on the front of this crit as a P12 with Legion and Avolo and Wildlife and a couple other pro teams. What happens here? Right off the bat, what happens?
Tyler Williams decides that he wants to go for a random breakaway right off the start, and I'm like, all right, I'll go. I get a good clip in. All right, cool. Let's go for this breakaway.
Yeah, so was it really your plan to start in a breakaway, or what was really your plan right off the bat here?
Honestly, just to get a good clip in and not fall straight to the back like I did at Tour of America's Dairyland every single day.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of comical. Like, you and I were both dealing with terrible clip-ins for about 2 months straight, and it just so happened that they were always in crits, and we would always wind up going straight to the back. So really, you were planning on kind of jumping into the Legion train right off the bat. You got a great lineup. You were able to line right up on the front. There were 80 people in this race?
I think he said 66.
66. Okay, so 66 P12s. There are some Cat 3s in here, but really, there just weren't that many.
There's 5, I think.
Yeah, and you got to have some cojones as a Cat 3 to jump into a race like this. So 66 people, and you got Legion, you got 4 or 5 other pro teams in here. Not a whole lot of numbers on the other pro teams, but certainly some pro teams. And you can see Tyler's looking back here to see what's going on. How much of a break did you guys get, and how long did you keep it away? Starting, right at the starting whistle.
We got about 15 to 20 seconds by the second lap, right around here-ish, coming across the finish line.
Yeah.
And we also have a couple clips of this, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's kind of cool here is you guys are, Tyler realizes that you guys are off the front and have a bit of a gap. So he's, communicating with you. What are the kind of things he's telling you?
So right about as we're coming into corner 3 at the end of this next straightaway, he tells me, how about you work on the uphills and I'll work on the downhills.
Yeah.
I'll being Tyler Williams,
yeah.
Because I have junior's gears and I can't go as fast because I have to have a super high cadence.
Yeah, and this is a great time to talk about some of the gauges that we have on the screen here. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the Boogeyman has his cadence. And he's running junior's gearing, so the biggest gear he can run is a 52.14. Tyler's running probably a 53.11 for this, and you're frequently above 120, certainly 110 to 120 on a regular basis. So when there's even a slight incline, you have a little bit of an advantage because your cadence is back to normal and you can put out a pretty decent amount of power. But downhill, you're doing 120 plus RPM. And somebody like Tyler's gonna be able to have more weight than you and more power, right? without the excess of cadence. What was the overall average speed of this crit?
It averaged about 29.5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And for that, I averaged 100 RPM, and that's including zeros.
Yeah. So your cadence was ridiculously high, 29.5 miles an hour for an hour and 15 crit. And really, that included a little bit of before and after time, too. So it was bang on 30 miles an hour for this crit. And you can see he's waving you on there to go around. A little bit more about some of the gauges. In the top left corner here, we've shown the course itself, and the corners are marked. So corner 1 is what you're approaching right now. It is showing, what you see as north on the map is north, and the wind is coming from the west. Was it a heavy wind, or just a little bit?
It was just a little bit. It didn't really affect anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could feel it, especially when you're coming into this section here. You could feel a little bit of a push from behind. And when you're going between corner 3 and corner 4, you could probably feel a little bit of push on the front.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing major. The bottom left two gears, we got it in kilometers per hour for our European friends and those that are inclined for European. We tend to run kilometers per hour on our stuff. And then right below it is miles per hour. Your power is in the dead center there, bottom dead center. And then total distance is top center. Top right is an interesting one. Just showing you guys where on the actual map it is. This is like a Google Street View with live updates. It helps you to see where we're not 100%. Like, it's not perfectly lined up, right? So just, you can kind of tell it's just a little bit ahead. So the numbers are just a little off. All right, you guys are about to get caught here, right?
Yep.
So you've been away this is your third lap away, and you're about to get caught. And it's a pretty brutal catch. I mean, you'll see some Legion guys go up here on the left, and they're moving. You're not going 35 kilometers an hour. Sometimes the speed dips down a little bit for some reason. It was just a GPS tracking thing. And there you go. So what's your goal from here on?
Survive. I mean, for the first 3 laps, I averaged a little bit over 7 watts per kilogram. So yeah, at this point, I was just thinking survive, and my heart rate is about 214 right now.
Yeah, so you got to bring that down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your heart rate has a tendency to get up there. Both Boogeyman and myself, we have a relatively high max heart rate. You've hit into the 230s. I can reliably hit into the 220s, but I think if you and I are in those ranges, we're both really not having a good day.
Yeah.
So we cut forward a little bit here. This is a long race. It's an hour and 15. We're not going to show an hour and 15 minutes worth of racing. Instead, just cutting forward a little bit here. We're going to cut again in a moment to about 11K in, and then we're going to cut out like 40K out of the middle because this race is long. Boogeyman was joking just a minute ago, which I think he's right, is that this crit, that hour and 15-minute long crit, is as long as a lot of Cat 4 and 5 road races. So it's kind of true. Describe the course for me here. You're on between corners 2 and 3, so what's about to happen here?
So the straightaway that we're about to turn onto is the steepest part. It's uphill. Pretty much everywhere else is flat, if not downhill. I'd say corner 4 to corner 1 is pretty much flat. Corner 1 to corner 2 is slightly downhill, and corner 2 to 3 is flat again. Yeah.
And you say steepest part. It's obviously not really steep. It gets up to close to 4% at one point, and that's about it. But,
it's a nice break for my cadence.
Right. And that's what I found, too, is, both Boogeyman and I are lighter riders. Usually 4% is not enough to help us. We have to kind of get in the 6 to 7% range so that our power to weight ratio helps. I don't know about you, but I felt like the moment it started getting around 3 to 4%, I was actually moving up the line a lot easier than some other people were. So there was a little bit of a headwind there, a little bit weird. Not the end of the world, though. And then here, we jump forward a little bit again. What are you seeing happening here?
So Legion, I think they caught a random one-person attack, and they're countering him. I think it was 2 people that started the attack, and since they are Legion, everyone decides that they need to follow them, and the whole line just starts to go. Yeah. I mean, the speeds on this were incredible. Like I said, I raced this earlier in the day. My average speed supposedly was around 26.5, although I watched somebody else's video that videoed the exact same race. They were in the same race as me, and they said it was 27.5. Personally, I felt it was a really easy crit. I didn't do particularly well, but I didn't come down to do well. I can't win champs, right? I came down to learn things. 26.5, 27.5, it was fast. 29.5, it's blisteringly fast. And every once in a while you would see that these guys would take a little bit of a break. I'd be standing by the finish line and I'm waiting for them, and I'm like, it's taking 5 more seconds than usual. A little bit of sketch there. Don't know what that guy was thinking. How much sketchiness did you see in this race? A lot or a little? For the most part, there really wasn't that much sketch. But when there was, it was really bad.
Yeah, there were a few times you almost got taken down, right?
Yeah, and there was a couple times when I saw one person try to break into the Legion chain, and almost didn't have a good day. That's what I could pretty much say about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some giant brass balls if you're going to try to break into that train. First of all, because they don't want you in that train. And then second of all, if you do manage to get into it, you'd better hold on to it, because they are not. It's not easy, is it?
No, not at all.
No. Yeah, so they're moving. You can see a little bump in here and there. Nothing big. I feel like my race, which was the Masters 45 plus 1-2-3s, was a lot sketchier. The lines that we took made absolutely no sense. In this section right here, for some strange reason, we would swing hard right, hard left, hard right, and then back to hard left and take inside, inside, outside. I even caught up with some guys in the parking lot afterwards, and I'm like, you guys race this all the time. This is a standard crit course. Is that normal? Like, are those the lines you guys normally take? And they were like, no, they were just stupid. We don't know what was going on. It looks like these guys were taking a lot more consistent lines. Based on the fact that I see a lot of people kind of bunched up, it tells me that this race could possibly have been even faster. Like, it was fast, but they probably could have taken it faster. Where did you find that it was oftentimes the easiest to move up?
Contrary to my gears, actually this straightaway right here. For some reason, I don't know why, this was the easiest for me.
Yeah.
And actually corner 3 to 4, the slight uphill, was the hardest. Because that's where everyone wanted to attack. It was really just the best place to.
Yeah, absolutely. They had preems just about every other lap, and people were going for them. It was interesting, though, in your race, and we jumped ahead. Obviously, we're not that far from the end here. We've only got a couple laps left to go. But in your race, about halfway through, a breakaway of 3 guys got off the front, and they kept opening the gap by quite a bit. But they did eventually get caught, and the people in the back here were I think, quite confident that they were going to catch them. They never really organized a massive chase. They just kind of just rode confidently that they were going to get them. And they kept the pace high. On this slow section here, they're cruising at 27 miles an hour. And things are starting to ramp up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as we get towards the end, you're going to see some folks like that guy that just kind of blew out the back there. It's going to happen. There were some DNFs. No wrecks. There was not a single wreck, but there were a few DNFs. And I think, really, they just got to the point where they were done and backed out. Your power overall, for example, I think averaged, 4.5 to 5 watts per kilogram for the whole crit?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, so it was hard. It was a fast crit. I'm saying it like I know. I would have gotten shelled like in lap 2. So, yeah, this is pretty awesome. As we start moving in towards the end here, you've only got a little bit left before you get to that finish. What do you think was probably the biggest thing holding you back? There were a few other juniors in this race. There was, I think, 2 other juniors in this race, and you guys all finished pretty similarly. Was it your juniors' gearing that kind of held you back?
Yeah, it really was, actually. I can push past it in a lot of scenarios, but just having like 120 RPM constantly down like 75% of the straightaways, it's not fun, or it's really fun depending on your twisted view.
You were doing 127 RPM just a second ago.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do.
And I don't know if we actually have a clip of it in this video here, but my max speed in this race was 48 miles an hour.
Yeah, we've in these clips here, I don't know that we actually get to that point, but yeah, 48.5 miles an hour is your max speed. But there are several times earlier in this very video where you were above 40 miles an hour in, again, what is essentially a flat crit. So this is the finish. This is the finishing straight here. You got gapped towards the very end, but you were doing 120 RPM. I don't know you could have done much more. So all in all, 11th place in the Cat 2s. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wicked awesome race. And, huge shout out to the people that put this on and to Legion. I think they were just awesome altogether. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. That was an awesome trip. Thank you, City of Compton, and thank you for the organizers that put this on. Truly an amazing trip. Thanks, everyone. We will catch you next time. If you like the video, smack that thumbs up.